Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're not just going to talk about rumination, we're actually going to do something about it. Think of this as a live workshop, a hands-on exercise to help you finally break that frustrating loop of obsessive thoughts. Okay, let's start with this analogy because it gets right to the heart of the matter. Imagine that thought is a basketball. You're trying with everything you've got to just drop it. But at the same time, you're analyzing it, questioning it, trying to figure it out, which is the same as gripping that ball with all your might. You're holding on and letting go at the exact same moment. No wonder it feels completely impossible. So here's our game plan. First, we'll dig into that basketball paradox. Then we'll talk about the difference between deciding to stop and actually stopping. That'll lead us to this kind of surprising idea, the art of doing nothing. Then, the best part, we'll do a guided exercise together, right here, right now. And finally, we'll cover the sneaky mental traps that can trip you up. All right, first up, the basketball paradox. This is all about unpacking that counterintuitive idea that when it comes to these sticky thoughts, the harder you try to fight them, the worse it gets. The very mental energy you're using to solve the thought is actually the fuel that's keeping it burning. And this is the absolute key. Trying to solve the thought and trying to stop thinking about the thought, they're complete opposites. You literally can't do both at once. The second you start analyzing, you are, by definition, holding on. This changes everything because it means rumination isn't just something that's happening to you. It's an active thing that you are doing. So that leads us to a really important distinction: deciding versus doing. This is where we figure out what the real problem is. You know, getting stuck in that loop is almost never a failure of willpower. It's usually a failure of technique. The secret is separating your decision to stop from the method you're using. So I want you to ask yourself two totally separate questions. First, have I made a real no-turning-back decision that I want to stop doing this? If your answer is a solid yes, but you're still struggling, then the problem isn't your commitment, it's your methodology. You're just using the wrong tool for the job. And this is probably the most powerful and honestly the weirdest insight of this whole thing. If stopping feels hard, you're doing it wrong. Truly stopping isn't an action. It's the absence of action. It's not about running faster on a mental treadmill. It's about just stepping off. So if you feel that struggle, that's your signal that you're still doing something. Okay, so if the answer is just to step off the treadmill, that brings us right to our next section, the art of doing nothing. What in the world does it actually mean to do nothing about a thought that just won't go away? It's this simple. That's the whole definition. It's not about distracting yourself or pushing the thought away or even mindfully watching it. It is, quite literally, just ceasing all effort to solve it. Period. This is the only instruction you really need to remember. Just let the thought be there in the background, kind of like you're aware of the weather. You know it's cloudy outside, but you don't have to analyze the clouds or fight the clouds. You just let them be. Your one and only job is to not try and solve the problem right now. So what does this do-nothing job actually look like? Well, it's really a list of things you don't do. First, you're just aware that the thought or the question is there. That's it. From that point on, it's all about non-action. Number 2, you don't try to solve it. 3, you don't push it away. And 4, you don't purposefully hold on to it. You're just letting it be without poking it. All right, theory time is over. Let's actually turn this idea into a real skill. We're going to do this together, right now. This is your chance to actually feel what doing nothing is supposed to feel like. Okay, so right now, just gently bring that thought, that issue, that question that's been bugging you. Bring it to mind. Don't force it, just let it be present. It's okay that it's there. And now, for the next 10 seconds, your only job is to do absolutely nothing about it. Don't solve it. Don't analyze it. Don't fight it. Don't even check to see if it's going away. Just nothing. So, how did that feel? If it felt surprisingly easy, almost like nothing really happened, then congratulations. That feeling of ease, of just non-effort, that is what not ruminating feels like. You just did it. Now, on the other hand, if that felt hard, that is incredibly useful information. It just means you are secretly still doing something. So what was it? Were you kind of bracing yourself against the thought? Were you subtly keeping an eye on it? Were you trying to think of something else? Figuring out that hidden little effort is the whole key.
And that leads us perfectly into our last section, the common mental traps. These are all the subtle little ways we think we're doing nothing, but we're actually accidentally just keeping that rumination engine running.
You see the pattern here, right? Every single one of these is an action. Trying to hold a thought at bay is like leaning your weight against a door. That takes effort. Distraction is an action. Arguing is obviously an action. And even things like active acceptance can become a form of doing. They're all just sneaky ways of engaging with the thought.
This is such a critical point. The goal is not to sit there and watch yourself ruminate like, oh, look, now I'm thinking about that thing he said, and now I'm remembering that other thing. That's just giving your rumination a fancy new name. You are not supposed to observe the process. You are supposed to stop the process.
And it really all comes down to this. Rumination is a mental compulsion. And what's the answer to a physical compulsion, like washing your hands too much? It's not to wash them mindfully. The answer is to stop washing your hands. It's the exact same logic. The answer to the mental compulsion of rumination is to simply stop doing it.
So that leaves us with one final and maybe pretty challenging question. We've established that the method, the how, is shockingly simple. You do nothing. The challenge then shifts. It's not about skill anymore, it's about willingness. The technique is easy. The hard part is trusting it. So the real question is, are you willing to let go and trust that this problem doesn't need to be solved right this very second?